This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Seth Merrill, I am Anthony Mormino, and I guess it was time for windbreakers this morning, Seth. Rather mild as we get into the middle third of January, but in the capital region, I think most people, if you said this would be the roughest winter day, would sign up for it and never complain about winter if this was as bad as it got. Rather nice out there, mild. Also, the Big A on tap, Seth. It feels like my youth has returned where in the wintertime, Monday racing in New York without it being a holiday.
Yeah, and I said on yesterday's show, it was a nice winter. It was brief. We liked that.
Yeah.
Cold weather, some snow, and then a couple of days ago, spring came back. So I'm good with that.
I was just telling the guys we take our son skiing on Sunday mornings, and as I was driving out of the driveway yesterday, I saw my entire front lawn except that area where you pile the snow when you move it. I was like, boy, this is 2 times now we've had considerable snowfalls, and post that snowfall, it all got wiped out through melting. So I guess on that front, we're extremely fortuitous because, unlike my friend, I do not think winter is over, and we'll have more snow, but at least it'll be starting at 0. And
it's funny, you mentioned this on the show yesterday. The cold weather affected racing across the country, obviously, but then the warm weather as well. And I said yesterday, track maintenance people, the going from cold to warm is what affects things. And down at Aqueduct on Saturday, it was fog, but over at Laurel, it was the change in temperature.
Did you read Mike Watchmaker's little column? He took a shot at fog canceling racing. He did not think that was a safety issue, and he made another mention. And he first said nobody who's not. He says jockeys have autonomy. It's their safety. We don't do it. He goes, but fog has never been a safety issue. I'll talk with Jeff Call when I work with him next. And I understand that because fog looks terrible, like to we the viewers. But when you're in the fog, you're like,
it's much,
okay,
much worse on television than it is in
and
real
he
life.
said something that I believe in. He didn't go into it because it was his walkout line. He said, we've lowered the bar dramatically through the year of canceling.
It certainly has. And I still contend that the racetracks with simulcast racing now, the cancellation isn't quite as important to them as it was in years past, and so the management maybe doesn't push as hard. But there was a little bit of controversy on Saturday, and I said I had Jeff in here yesterday, and he kind of said, well, maybe it was bad enough. But Chucky Lopez in the Grenig article about it also mentioned the track condition. I'm wondering if that didn't play in again. Changing temperature, so I wonder if the track.
I mean, it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. I don't. And unlike the old days, there's plenty of options. I mean, there was sunny venues on Saturday. I don't think you would have needed the Naira fix.
I was surprised though by the article that there was controversy. One of the trainers, I think it was Jeremiah Engelhardt, in fact, came out and said, gee, maybe they should have come to the management and seen if they could have come up with some solution or something. And I'm surprised there isn't a protocol in place. What happens is jockey go to the stewards. Stewards then cancel the day of racing.
Well, no jockeys, no racing. I mean, that's.
I'm just surprised though that everybody isn't in the loop, or at least there isn't a protocol that everybody agrees on. So when it's decided, everybody's like, well, okay, that's the protocol. So there wouldn't.
So you want order and function now. You'd like it to just jump in at any point.
But I was surprised when I read the article. Really, there isn't something that everybody automatically agrees on.
It's my understanding.
Jeff made a great point yesterday. He said they probably should have gone out and run one more race, given some more jockeys an eyeball on the situation. You run 2 races, and he said in his day that was kind of what it was. If the jockeys went out for the first race and things, then the jockeys would go for the second race. Another group of jockeys would have gotten a load.
See, we used to believe as people that they always ran the double. No. They always got the double in. Jeff could say more jockeys, but it was always the daily double. Get that in. And I'll say one thing. You think back over the times when it has been safety and it has been the track, you usually hear multiple fronts, a lot of barking, and almost everybody's on board because usually they got to get somebody out there with a truck, and you hear it a lot. But, It happens. It was unfortunate. They were at one. Listen, I'm sure the New York Race Association doesn't like losing a Saturday. You know, it'd be a little different Monday or a Thursday, but it was a Saturday. They lost in Case Mist in Southern California. Jeff Mullins, who was on the sideline for a long time, fired off the first 3 yesterday in New York. And I was telling Jeff on Saturday, I don't know if you saw the awful opening day weather at Oaklawn Park, but Roberto Arroyo won 4, three of which with Cody Autry. So I was teasing when I came in Saturday morning, the jockeys race and trainers title is over, and they did happen to come back and win on Saturday also. Roberto Arroyo and Cody Autry won again, but Jeff Mullins won the first 3 at Santa Anita. And just a quick note, Jeff Mullins had that real big hot streak. Didn't he have the horse I Want Revenge?
All I remember is sitting in with Kyle Brownell for
Okay.
the afternoon Handicappers Report and picking Castledale, which I believe
Castledale,
was one of his
a
horses as well.
tremendous score in the San Diego Derby. Was he $70?
Yeah,
At
least.
Yeah, so he Castledale.
And Kyle, before the race, was was a little skeptical about the selection.
Well, that's okay, because a couple years later, he was skeptical when I picked Tiago in the San Diego Derby and came back a huge price. But he was going very well there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And hasn't really been the case the last couple years. But watching the West Coast, I mean, he's back. He's run about 18 horses now. 10 of them have been in the exacta. I think it's 5 and 5. He had the 3 yesterday. And I also want to say, and they're starting to write about it, and I saw it coming a week ago, Seth. And everybody, I mean, you can't magically produce horses, but the racing at Santa Anita and the field size and everything is already come into the mix 2 weeks into it. And the problem with that is this is supposed to be, other than Del Mar, as good as it gets. I mean, this is supposed to be the strong part. So who knows what they're gonna do? But wish them the best. I was saying to Seth, we got Akron in the mix today. Tampa and Gulfstream Park have picked up the day, so their winter meet that we think about is underway. So the racing actually is outstanding. Did you get a chance to see the Midnight Hawk horse out at the Sham Stakes in the second career start?
Yeah, we watched it yesterday. And
pretty nice.
Yeah,
second start.
Four-horse field, and it looked mid-stretch or so like he was going to pull away. Didn't, but I think the second place horse will be okay too.
And I agree with you. I think he maybe he got tired off of his debut, but then the last 50 yards of the race, he looked like he figured it out again.
It looked like he was going to pull away, didn't, and then as you say, got to the wire, he regained focus.
And the reason I bring that up is I am a big believer in a horse's action. And that, because I agree with Seth completely. I mean, we all do it. I'm making these real-time thoughts. I thought exactly like Seth did. Boy, that was a big menacing move. And then he seemed to hit a wall, and he kind of went to the rail, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's going to win, but that wasn't too encouraging. But then it got good again. The form, it got efficient, and it looked strong and powerful, which I like to see. And so I thought that was good. I made the comment, if you look through the pedigree, the mare is Miss Wineshine. And if you go back long enough, she was a Baffert runner that came to Saratoga, had a big loop-de-doo. Matter of fact, broke its maiden in a stakes race. He was 0 for 2, ran a stakes race. And Dick Powell and I happened to be actually at Saratoga watching her come across, and she acted up. I'm sure many of our viewers know that gap area, like the last 30 yards before they get to the track, adjacent to the clubhouse. She acted up. She ran pretty well in the Adirondack with that thrown in the mix, and then she ran third behind Circle of Life and Surfside in the Spinway. She never ran again. That was it. And now she pops up again. And I was saying on Horses and Courses, that's homebred on homebred for Mike Pegram. He had Miss Wineshine and he had Midnight Loot. And I think our viewers remember that last year, Midnight Loot had a couple of horses that were early on the 3-year-old trail. So I liked it. I liked what I saw, especially the last 70 yards in the second career start. And another horse that I wasn't surprised went from synthetic to dirt based on his pedigree. So that was the weekend that was. And now we have Turf Paradise and the Big A. I don't know how often we've had that daily double on the Handicappers Report.
But Mondays are going to be a little bit different for a while.
Oh,
so.
yeah. I mean,
well, we'll kick things off.
Nice.
Turf Paradise 4 this afternoon. The opener, a quick 350-yard allowance race. Non-winners of 3 lifetime, 4-year-olds and up.
You know, and I my partner tackled these races before, and it's just very different. I mean, obviously the teletimer is different. I mean, everything's different. But I looked at it as if, hey, if there's a strong pace in a 350-yard race, maybe I can get it off the pace. There's somebody out there that probably follows this racing going, that never happens, Anthony. You don't make the front. Nobody decelerates. You do decelerate. You don't decelerate fast. But Choosy 2 was I'm 6.38 in the opener down at Turf Paradise, right down the stretch for us. And, you know, my horse is not going to be on the engine according to any past performances. But I thought there was like 4 horses out of the 7 and 4 out of the other 6 that figured to be up on it. Maybe that's immaterial going 350 yards, but I took Choosy 2 on top for second. Number 3, Tiny Wood Choice. And I've said this many times before. If you don't have a real big thought, don't go short price horses. This horse seems to get close to the trifecta at time by beaten lengths, but of late 0 for 3 since scoring a nice victory. And for third, number 8 on the outside, Roll Me to Cash. We certainly hope so. But 6.38 in the brief opener at Turf Paradise.
Back to a more traditional distance of 5 furlongs in race number 2. These are Arizona-bred maidens, $5,000 claiming tags, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up.
362, ladies and gentlemen, my selections in here, and Sen Knight gets my top pick. Like the work of late. Yes, we're going to the post for the 11th time as a maiden, and that can be, I know, a big knock, but I probably thought that way 15, 20 years ago also, but I've really come around over the last multiple years to thinking that, especially when you see awful races, 5 or 6 of them in the beginning, I just throw those aside. And the athlete is getting better. So to me, technically 0 for 10, but I might be looking at a 0 for 4, 0 for 5 with good efforts. And you do like to get a little bit better price than 5 to 2, but I'll take Sen Knight, who is dropping down to 5,000 out of 8s. And I have to think that it's my projection that that is a sizable drop, not just $3,000, that you're getting a completely different class of animal with only a $3,000 difference. For second, number 6, Chino Valley. Woke up and smelled the coffee, going 6 on New Year's Day. Got beat only 3 lengths at nearly 18 to 1. For third, number 2, Eastern Harmony, going to the post for the 14th time at Turf Paradise, has hit the board in 7 of the first 13. And I picked the New Year's Day thing. Seth, we've already had horses around America, 2-time winners in 2014. And remember, I also wanted to mention to you, and I saw this on opening day at Oaklawn Park. You know how in New York, the stakes races this time of year say 3-year-olds and up, but a 3-year-old never runs in it? On the opening day card at Oaklawn Park, they had complete 3-year-olds and up, and over the course of the day, I think double-digit numbers. I want to say 11. I counted them. Recently turned 3-year-olds took on their elders. You know, and we will not see that condition until about March. But on the first day at Oaklawn Park, there was 3 races, I think. One had none, one had 1 or 2, and another one had like 7. You know, they were juveniles 2 weeks ago.
That is really...
that's giving away a lot.
Yeah.
You would think, but the trainers...
you don't see it, but and very, very unusual, certainly. Although is it Royal Ascot? I think it's one of the Royal Ascot, the sprint stakes. Every couple of summers, it seems like you see some 2-year-olds in there in the middle of the summer facing their elders. Third race at Turf Paradise this afternoon, another state-bred maiden claimer. Again, $5,000 tags. This time, 3-year-olds going 6.5.
635, my choices in here. And Slew to Slew gets my top pick. I think the effort in the third career start, which is an area where I like to see marked improvement, was better. I don't know if it was the addition of blinkers or not, but I like the direction we're going on this 4-to-1 morning line shot. Now, in the career debut, talked about this condition, and it's not only Turf Paradise, but it's the one track that I know we do on the Handicappers Report that they do it, but there's more than one that have these maiden optional claiming races. And this horse debuted in that, so that's a little better brand of company. Then came back for a $10,000 tag, and that's definitely better than $5,000 tag. So water seeks its own level. We've made the third career start. We added blinkers. Seems to be going in the right direction on multiple fronts for my top pick, number 6, Slew to Slew. For a second, number 3, Denton, the veteran in the group, goes to the post for the 8th time, has a couple of third-place finishes, including 2 races back before trying the maiden 8s. And as I said, folks, without the extremely comprehensive data that I like to keep on 6 other racetracks going right now, it's my projection that at Turf Paradise, there is a sizable gulf between the maiden 8s and the maiden 5. So I think coming back to maiden 5s, where we ran 3rd more recently, is a good move. For 3rd, number 5, General Houston, who does not have the runner Stallion Houston in his bloodline, makes the 4th career start. I do like this edge. I don't think it's a big move, but this horse debuted in stakes action for Arizona breds. I mean, no matter what, at least that shows me that they had confidence, and then ran an open company. So this is the first time in the 4th career start that this horse is anywhere near a state-bred Arizona maiden 5. 6-3-5 in the 3rd.
4th at Turf Paradise this afternoon is a calendar condition claimer, $3,000 tags. 4-year-olds and up, they'll go 3/4 of a mile.
And you make sure you tell our friend Mr. Chamberlain that I noticed they're not using the turf course. They can't slide it, that little fastball past me. 2, 4, 8, awfully wild, boys. Double-digit odds on the morning line. And if the odds maker is right, I like this, because you win by a pole in a dated claimer sprinting. Then you try rooting, and now and it doesn't go very successfully. And now you come back to sprinting. Let's pick up the ball at the next level. The 2 races back, the sprint was a claimer 3,000, non-winners of a race dated. Now we're in non-winners of 2 races dated back to sprinting. So number 2, awfully wild, boys, my top pick in the 4th. For a second, a couple over. Number 4, 7 Torrance, second off the $3,000 claim. Jumped up to go a mile, and it was going pretty well until I think the pace pressure and the deceleration kicked in, made the final beaten lengths and running position look awful, finishing last, beaten better than 1.5 dozen. But now we get back to sprinting, and I expect to see better results as we saw in the late autumn at Turf Paradise. For 3rd, number 8, Delighted Disciple. Big second-place effort when breaking from the rail, most recently on December 23rd. Now gets the other side of the starting gate. 2, 4, 8 in the 4th.
5th this afternoon at Turf Paradise, a B condition claimer, 3,000 tags. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, they'll go a mile.
4, 7, and 6, my picks in here. And Perfect Light is 3-1 on the morning line here. And a good second-place effort going the mile. Draws a good post position once again today. And we expect, after having never been out of the exacta in all 4 lifetime tries at Turf Paradise, unfortunately only one of them being a W, we're reaching for the second one to be a W today after a good second-place finish, beaten by a length most recently. For a second, a couple stalls over. Number 7 going out for the first time on dirt in a very, very long effort. This horse has been running well, middle distance turf. Now we hope this offspring of Bertrando transfers onto the dirt form, drops out of an entry-level allowance on the turf December 1. For 3rd, right next door in the starting gate, number 5, Bears Tigarette, going out for the second start after May 5th at Turf Paradise. Came back going 6 furlongs. A nice moderate return to the races. Not too, a Goldilocks move. That's what I should call this chapter in the handicapping book. The Goldilocks. Not too fast, not too slow. Perhaps just right. 4, 7, 6.
All right, we'll take our first break. When we come back, a continued look at Turf Paradise. A little later on, Aqueduct. Stay tuned. I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got some all about.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino in here on this Monday morning. We will continue our look at Turf Paradise for this afternoon. Race number 6, it's an allowance. Non-winners of 2 lifetime, 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 6.5.
738, my selections in here. Number 7 is Magic Dioro, who is a very attractive 8-1 on the morning line. Scheduled to make the dirt debut this afternoon in the 5th career start. A couple of synthetic efforts, a couple of turf efforts, and you could probably make the leap of faith that this is an offspring somewhere down the line of Medaglia d'Oro, and you would be correct. And I would say this about Medaglia d'Oro, who getting a sprinter on dirt, I am A-okay with that. We saw a nice bullet workout for this dirt debut, and as I said, 8-1 on the morning line. I like this horse in this spot. Leaving Woodbine, came down and ran on the turf, going a mile, was 9-5 that afternoon. Now, as I said, gets dirt this afternoon. In the pedigree, you have Awesome again. So let's give this Magic d'Oro a chance in here on top for second. Number 3, Instinctively Bold, scheduled to make the first start since November 17th, has never been off the board in 3 tries at Turf Paradise, all of them at this level of recent note. For third, number 8, Confederate Cat, who began the career in the summer of 2012, got 2 starts in Southern California out of the Kathy Walsh barn, and then was laid off for 14 months, came back, and I've said this before, Seth, and I know Revolutionary beat me the other day at Gulfstream Park, and I said it on Saturday. I very infrequently get chagrined when I look up, and I was teasing that. I actually thought Revolutionary would be about 440. I think he went off at, what, 40 cents? I think he went off like a 2-5, even worse. So I'm even less worried when they paid 280. But Confederate Cat was even money in the comeback race, and I know Scott Stevens was aboard, but boy, I'll tell you, a 14-month layoff, that is a short price to take. And I've said this before, as much as I chomp at the bit to beat these type of runners, boy, I do like when they come back and they're less warranted at the window. 10-1 on the morning line for number 8, Confederate Cat. My third pick, 738 in the 6th.
I don't know if we'll get that to 1 though. This is another one of these tracks where I'm always a little bit dicey. And in fact, at Gulfstream, there was a horse yesterday or the day before that was 10-1 on the morning line, and I commented it had to be yesterday because I was handicapping.
Okay.
I commented, and it went off at 9-2. It's just you're looking at.
I'll give you an example. In the Fort Lauderdale Summerfront, who won I want to say the Dania Beach, but one of the early season 3-year-old turf races 2 years ago for Clermont, and is a very nice middle distance turf runner for Clermont. I think went off at just about even money, and I know it's not going to sound like a big difference, but to me, 5-2 and even money is a big difference, more than the math of 2.5 to 1 down to 1. You might say, well, that's only 1.5 points, but when you're that low, that's a big difference. And I picked him third, and I said in the show, I said, at 5-2, I'm all in, but I didn't think you're going to get him. So
medal count floated down yesterday as well.
Yeah. The only problem that I have is, and I say this, is not being as dialed into Turf Paradise, because my thought would be in that race, how much effect does the Southern California races have that long ago layoff, and now has the recent form getting beat when they went hog wild for the horse? I
don't think he's going to go down to chalk by any means off of that last race, but I still think that Southern California form and the workouts leading. I think that 10-1 I think has to float down a little bit. We'll see. Seventh race at Turf Paradise this afternoon. B-level claimer, 3,000 tags. Fillies and Mares, 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 5.5.
And as I like to say, I'm probably one of the few public handicappers that likes my horses to be dead on the board. Like, I'm okay with that. 654 SS Tribal Girl gets my top pick. This horse was claimed for $4,000 and has hit the board in only the first off of the claim and in the 3 starts. But I like what I see. I think this might have been a nice claim, and we're moving forward. And the most recent effort just, quite frankly, wasn't fast enough while being down inside. The pace was a little bit too strong, was never able to really get in the mix. It was just a better heat than this horse could contend with. And quite frankly, if it were to be a similar type pace this afternoon, SS Tribal Girl will have the same problem. I'm counting on it being a little softer and the result being appreciably better. For second, number 5, Dixie's Honor, right next door in the starting gate. This horse was claimed for $3,500. And once again, if you just look at the final running position, the beaten lengths, and the nearly 35-1, you say, yeah, but off of the claim, you step up, you run on the turf. It has no applicability to today getting back to 5.5 on the dirt. Although I do think you get helped on the price. For third, number 4, Meter Me Gone, scheduled to make the first start in the new barn since leaving Santa Anita on October 4th to make the Turf Paradise debut this afternoon, 6, 5, and 4. And I just had to laugh because I think it's Santa Anita yesterday. 2 former Ron Ellis horses that were claimed scored yesterday. I think one of them was Jeff Mullins. Just picked the horse up, so Ron Ellis was looking at his old horses. Multiples, not just one. I wouldn't bring it up for that, but Ron Ellis and
Yeah, 2 in one day's got to hurt.
Oh, you got to be like, oh.
8th at Turf Paradise this afternoon. Conditional claimer, $3,500 tags. Non-winners at 3 lifetime the condition. 4-year-olds and up, they'll go 1 mile.
And I like this race. As I said, I had the pleasure of visiting Turf Paradise many moons ago, and the mile races on the dirt, you feel as if they're running in your living room if you're trackside along the rail, and I think that's nice. 7-2-5, ladies and gentlemen, Alcaraz gets my top pick, trying to make it 3 in a row after a second-place finish, has ratcheted up 2 two-turn consecutive victories at Turf Paradise. For second, number 2, Tally Stick, draws down inside, and once again, the final running position looks awful, but it was a good effort. I really think the pace was overboard that afternoon for this offspring of Street Cry, who has 2 runner-up positions in the other 2 starts, coming, throwing out this 8th-place finish when it was just a punishing internal pace down inside on the day after Christmas. For third, number 5, Union Worker. It's almost like a standard bred horse, Seth. It just runs 1 mile, going 2 turns, almost extensive. I'm looking at 10 career starts, and 8 of them have been at the 1 mile distance, including 6 of them in a row, and including a 3rd-place finish most recently. So it's 7-2-5 in the 8th.
9th at Turf Paradise this afternoon, yet another conditional claimer. This time the tag's $3,500. Condition, non-winners of 3 lifetime. 4 and up, 6.5.
And in the finale, 6-2-9, and number 6 is Big Fat Storm. And I facetiously say, what the heck would they know about that in the Phoenix area? But they do have a rainy season. I think it lasts 3 days. But a second-place finish, 2 races back, going 6 at this track, at this level. Regressed a little bit in the second lifetime start at Turf Paradise. I'm expecting a bounce back this afternoon. For second, number 2, Time on Our Hands. I have no idea what that means as we go for 3 in a row. Horse took 4 races to break the maiden, was 3-2. Now, we didn't get any break when it stepped up against winners for the first time, but I've talked about this. It wouldn't be an exciting column as a horse racing writer, but Seth, I would say over the last 7 years, I would say, this non-winners at 2 lifetime, which has taken hold throughout the United States, where you see these horses coming out of maiden claimers, it has improved the race cards dramatically, because improving race cards to me is just competitive racing. And these old maiden claiming races, those horses would have, they'd take them 7, 8 races to win their next race, but these 2 L's are just a godsend for these horses and for we public handicappers. For third, number 9, Wild Wings, scheduled to make the first start since April, 10 starts lifetime, 5 runner-ups at Turf Paradise. And I've said it before, I like the first races back. You have a freshening. This horse has shown some ability before, some good early speed before. It's the second start after a good start to either a career or off a long life. I don't fancy 6-2-9 this afternoon's finale from Turf Paradise.
All right, we'll take our bottom of the hour break. When we come back, Aqueduct. Stay tuned.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I am Anthony Mormino, and it didn't take a holiday. It just took a little juggling around. We're going to have New York on Monday. Seth and I were trying to do the math. We think about 7 weeks. It's going to be wraparound racing Thursday through Monday. And I was just saying to Seth, to me, the Monday, the legal holidays, and it was always a nice day of racing. I always thought, other than Friday, if you were apt to get people to come to the racetrack, it'd be good. And in this day and age, Seth, we know it at Capital Off-Track Betting. We look at the television schedule on Monday and Tuesday, and heck, as long as there's 10, 11 horses in the field, I'm pretty happy no matter where they run. But New York to run on a Monday, you have to think the simulcast world would be good. You get a couple of legal holidays in the mix. They'll have one next Monday, and they have to be your best chance to get people to attend the racing live, which people who own racetracks will always tell you that's the premier customer for them. Not only the breakdown and how dollars are separated where they're bet, but getting them to the track, and more importantly, getting them to come back and getting them to stay in the game. So for about 7 weeks, we're gonna have a Thursday through Monday schedule in New York, and selfishly for Capital Off-Track Betting, it's gonna help the network because it's just such a good magnet in New York. And in the opener, we have 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. Claimers in for 16,000, non-winners of 3, racing 6.
7, 4, 1, and 2. Oh, going back to yesterday at Gulfstream, I feel like I've been snake bit the past couple of days. I've been having a lot of my second place horses win. The plays of the day, I was getting the winners. I was snake bit over the weekend too. The $70 winner at Gulfstream.
Yes.
That was the top of a first and third exacta for me. I boxed, but I had the $70 winner in the mix, and I ran third. And then yesterday.
Wait a second. You cannot say, if this story involves you didn't make a win wager on a 34-1.
But I was not.
Can we go to black on Seth's shot? You cannot tell me you had a 34-1 shot in a mix.
Particularly because that was kind of why I played it. But for some reason, I just was not paying attention. It was the first time starter price, City Zip, and I thought, okay, at the price, first time starter, I'll take a little shot. But I was sitting at the computer, and I do this every once in a while, and I'm just kind of playing, and I'm not paying attention the way I should be. Believe me, after the race was over, I was ready to shoot myself.
I'll tell you, we've all been there. The only thing that had stopped me from being there years ago was this. I call it the 6-to-1 mechanism. And I think our viewers kind of get a feel for how I like to play the horse. I'm a trifecta player, etc. But my rule of thumb is 6-to-1. And what I realized a long time ago was, my point being, if the horse is 6-to-1, there's a win bet involved. Because the 6-to-1, for me, always, you shouldn't say that I know, almost always, I can't think if it wins, will cover my exotic action and give me a little bit. Because first off, you can't let 7-1 horses go. Forget 34-1 horses, and that's just why it got so robotic for me. I'm just
I'm
like,
the same
I
way.
just had to. I saw it happen too many times when I was. I
I'm
gotta tell you, up
absolutely-
through
I'm
30, I'm
more like 5 to 1.
that's it.
And
6-1, you bet X amount of
And if
dollars
they get
to
up
win.
if they get up to 10 or 12, I'm
You bet
looking
more.
win in place.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was goofy on Saturday down at Gulfstream. But again, I just wasn't paying attention. And then yesterday, I had I think it was 40 to 1 at Oaklawn win, and I won and ran third. That one, though, the win bet, because this was a horse that I went 5 deep in the exact end. This was a horse that would have been sitting at the bottom. So that one, when it got by me, I wasn't so. But I had a couple of pretty nice exactas. We had first and third with large price. So I just feel a little bit snake bit over the past few days. At Gulfstream yesterday, I think it was a couple of winners.
I might have to, like, if I was at the track or something like that, that would be one of those moments I take a long walk.
If I was at the
up to
track, it wouldn't
Y,
have happened.
Hot
because-
dogs.
Yeah, if I was at the track, it wouldn't have happened because
See,
I'm
what's-
way more focused.
Oh, you
on
really
it,
see? You're the first person that does what we do at our level that's ever said that. Everybody else tells me when I'm in my office and everything, and I am that group. When I am in my office, there's not much gets past me, especially now with Anthony being in school. At the track, if I'm thinking about a well-done hot dog and a Pepsi, sometimes, but in my office, I don't. You're the first person that's told me it's the
if I'm
reverse.
At Saratoga, I'm really focused on Saratoga. If I'm sitting I'm playing whatever the next track up is. So the action's kind of coming fast and furious when I'm in the living room.
All
But,
right.
Let's see what we can do today. Again, 7, 4, 1, and 2.
Let's not do that today.
The number 7 is Haldane. Haldane 9 to 5 on the morning line. So it's just kind of master of the obvious. But you have to respect this one off of the class relief. Last time out was in a New York Stallion Series, $125,000 race, goes for a 16 tag today. So again, I think Haldane on the class relief is logical in here. Second spot, the number 4, Magma. Gets a slight drop off a near miss last time, showed some nice punch cutting back from a 2-turn race to a sprint last time. And again, just missed at a 20 in a 20B. Goes for a 16 N3L today. So I think the class relief, again, Magma will be in the mix as well. And then Gaga drops and cuts back. So a couple of angles that certainly should make this one potent today. Showed a little speed early last time. So I think the cut back today will put this one up in the hunt. In the opener, 7, 4, 1, and 2.
Second half of the early daily double. Open company, 2-year-olds, maiden special weights, going 6.
4, 3, 6, and 2, and Chivarelli, the number 4 horse on top, a first-time starter by Montbrook. A little bit of breeding punch. Certainly trainer Eddie Keneally can have him ready first time out of the box. This one had a sibling called BC's Train that was 7th in the career debut, then was 4th, and then won. So if they win in the first 3 starts, I consider that precocious. This one then subsequently in the 4th career start won a small stake. So I think there's some precociousness there. Another sibling called Day Drunk that was a next second in its lone career start. So again, I think there's maybe a little bit of precociousness top and bottom, and with the trainer, Nature and Nurture will use Chivarelli on top. Second spot, the number 3, Killer Crossover, and I may regret putting this horse in the second spot. It is a second-time starter from Todd Pletcher. Indian Charlie on top. I think that says win sooner rather than later. Then you combine it up with Pletcher. Pletcher's number, second time out of the box, very good. So I think this horse is going to be the one to beat. And as I say, I may regret not having this one on top. On the bottom side, by the way, I said I like Indian Charlie. On the bottom side, this is the dam's first full, so there wasn't much info there, obviously. Third spot, the number 6, Smarty Burns. This is kind of an interesting horse. Here we are, middle of January, Aqueduct Inner Track, a $900,000 purchase for the Stone Street folks. The dam was a full sibling to Monarchos, produced a sibling called Supreme that won 3 times in the first 4 career starts, wound up the career 9 times in the exact and 10 starts, and a stakes winner. So I think there's a little breeding on the bottom. You have Smart Strike on the top. They paid a lot of money. Subsequently has done nothing in 2 starts, but maybe moving in against Inner Track Company, this horse could be a little bit interesting. But again, it's just a question mark. A Bill Mott horse of this ilk still racing in New York in the middle of January. So I couldn't move this one up, but it wouldn't shock me if this horse did run better than where I positioned it. Second race, 4, 3, 6, and 2.
And I've talked about it for the better part of the last 10 years. The other day we had the Darley runner at 5-1 win, the Juddmonte horse running up the track off the board before. Oh, you go back to the Red Bullet, the left bank, the Princess of Silmar. The inner dirt track had a certain thought going back to the middle 70s when it started. I think really up to probably like I've been doing the inner dirt track since '98. I say right about then, but it camps of stature have decided that they like the running surface better. On to the third. Boy, as simple as it gets these days in the claiming game. 4-year-olds and up, claimers in for $35,000. That's it. Mile 70.
1, 2, 7, and 5. The number 1 is Point Taken. Again, master the obvious here, 9 to 5 on the morning line, but it's first off the claim for Rudy. That's potent. But do note it was claimed from David Jacobson. So how much will this one move up? I don't know. But I think off of the numbers, even if this one runs back to a good performance, should be right there. Second spot, who else? David Jacobson. So he's taking on one of his former horses in here, but David Jacobson goes with Dan and Sheila in here. Threw a dud in the slop last time, but I expect a rebound. This horse, the prior start, was a pretty good effort, a win, in fact, in optional claimer starter allowance 20 company. So I think this horse is a good fit with this bunch. Third spot, we'll go out to the number 7, SCOTUS. Moves up off the claim, but I think should fit with this bunch. Again, just looking at the complexion of the rest of the field, the numbers this one typically fires will be right up there in the hunt. So in the third, I have it 1, 2, 7, and 5.
I said that when the day came that I had more time, and with Anthony in school full time, it happened there would be certain categories of stats I would start to keep, the type that the Daily Racing Form isn't putting out there for free, because you have to have an edge. And one of the ones I wanted to go to, because they don't do that, and it is difficult. It's cumbersome. I'm not that confident in my spreadsheet. I like the system I have, but you talk about David Jacobson. Can you make a living claiming off David Jacobson? My first thought is no, you can't. But I wanted to, and I said I would need time someday. So I'm in different juries. That's why I'm on top of the Ron Ellis lost 2 horses. They both win. I have a system. I don't feel excited about it. Maybe it'll work out where I'm keeping this list of and not just this, first off. That's a little more to that. And I'm compiling a list, because you walk around thinking, David Jacobson's going pretty well. I don't know if I want to make a living him. On to the third race. What we've seen in New York of late, after never seeing it, is this time of year going 5.5 furlongs. Now these are former juveniles going back 2 weeks ago, but the New York State breds, 3-year-olds, maiden claimers, 25, dashing 5.5.
5, 4, 2, and 7. The number 5 is Astronomo, who goes out first-time starter. Again, for Eddie Keneally, you can have him ready first time out of the box. Arch, I think, is okay as a precocious sire. Again, Keneally can have him ready. Nice, steady string of works. Not super confident on the bottom side. This one had a sibling called Syzygy that took 6 starts to win. However, 8th in the career debut, but then ran a couple of nice second-place finishes, so maybe some precociousness there. But do know, 8th in the debut effort. And you look at some other runners from the dam, not super precocious. So I had mixed feelings on this one, but I'll take a little bit of a shot on Astronomo. Again, just I think with the trainer combined with the sire, there's a little bit of something there. Similar, though, to an earlier race where I had Keneally over Pletcher. My second selection in here is Kickin' Butt, the number 4 horse, 8 to 5 on the morning line for Todd Pletcher. This is a horse moving in for a tag from Maiden Special Company. If this was open company, I would find that angle too hard to ignore. I don't think it's quite as potent when we talk about the state bred rank. So I was willing to take a little bit of a shot off a horse that hasn't run badly in the first 2, but certainly hasn't done anything to knock our socks off. So Kickin' Butt, again, logical favorite in here, but I just took a little bit of a shot against. Third spot, the number 2, Mayberry's Challenge. This one goes out for Midwest Thoroughbreds. They claimed this horse 2 races back for 35, followed up in a 35, and this horse ran an absolute dud, did not wind up finishing. The race was eased. Now, is that a negative horse for a course angle? I don't know, but the race they claimed the horse out of certainly was good enough to compete with this bunch. So I'm hoping for a little bit of a rebound to that effort with a little drop down the claiming ladder for potent claiming connections. But that last race is a little bit of a concern. So in the fourth today, 5, 4, 2, and 7.
On to the fifth. 4-year-olds up. Claimers in for 20,000. Non-order to 2 lifetime. Going 6.
8, 6, 1, and 7. The number 8 is Mi Haijo, who finally seems to have found a comfort zone. Earlier in the career was in Maiden Special Weight Company, bounced out of that a couple of times to go in a 40 tag, 35 tag, and even a 50 tag. Dropped down to 16 last time and won pretty easily. Claimed out of that race by Jeremiah Engelhardt. Now comes back for a 20 N2L tag. I think is going to be in a good fit here. Again, was racing against significantly higher up the claiming ladder or Maiden Special Company until dropping down for 16. The 16 seemed to be where this horse fit pretty well. I think 16 maidens to 20 N2L is not a big leap. So I think this one's going to fit in here nicely today. Number 6, Joking in the second spot. Gets some class relief in the third start off of the claimed for 35, back for 30, back in against 35 Company in the following 2 starts, but drops down to the 20 level today. So about a step and a half down, and I think this horse has some back numbers. With the class relief, if we can rebound to those, this horse will be in the mix. And then the number 1, Summer Sands. Third at this level last time, and I also like today that this horse is going to cut back in distance. So I think if you look at the fact that this horse ran well against a similar bunch of company last time and combine that with the cutback today, Summer Sands could be interesting. Between the 2 halves of the entry, though, I'm only looking at Summer Sands. If that one scratches out and the 1A runs, not as interested in that 1A. In the fifth, I have 8, 6, the plain 1, and 7.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from the Big A.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of ranch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Alongside Seth Merrill, I'm Anthony Mormino, up to race number 6 at the Big A on Mondays, which are scheduled now for a little bit. On the 6th race, we have New York State Press, 3-year-old maiden special weights. They're going to go 6.
I have it 1, 7, 6, and 3. The number 1 is Tapitation. Goes out for Eddie Keneally. I'm hoping Eddie Keneally has a big day with firsters today. And Tapitation. With Tap It on top, I certainly think there's some punch there. But again, like an earlier horse, maybe not so much on the bottom. The dam produced a sibling called Cheeky that was placed in France, and that's pretty much all I could find on Darien, the dam. So again, there's enough punch on top, and you combine that with Eddie Keneally. I'll take a little bit of a shot with Tapitation, but it's not the. I love these 2-year-old races. I love to look up the breeding and know the connections that like to get them ready. I don't jump into these races today with as much confidence as I do sometimes, but there's just enough on each of these that, nature and nurture to take a little bit of a shot. Second spot, the number 7. The rhythm is right. A Mike Hushin second-time starter. He does very well with that angle. Limited sample, however, but I think this one off of the career debut, showing some nice speed and finishing third in that one. I think on the comeback, this horse is going to be very, very competitive today. And then the number 6, Thrill Hill, fired a nice buyer figure in the career debut. Again, another one that showed a little punch as they came into the stretch and then faded to be an okay third in a field of 12. Should have gotten a good foundation off of that. And another one should be up in the hunt today. So in the 6th, 1, 7, 6, and 3.
7th race on the card, New York State Breds, 4-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $20,000, also going 6.
4, 6, 8, and 5. Just had to go with Sports Writer here. First off, the claim for Rudy. Moves up off of that claim, but this is a horse with a lot of back classes compared to this. So even though this horse did move up off the claim, I think is going to be an absolute fit with this bunch. So Sports Writer on top. Second spot, the number 6, Armed USA. I wasn't quite sure, looking at the last couple of races. They were down at Parks. They were against 7,500 conditional company. Has this horse just been beating up on lesser company, or is this horse in good form right now? Because the figures, the numbers fired, fit with this bunch. But sometimes horses just get the wake-up call against lesser company, and then they move back up the ladder. They're not quite as potent. We'll find out more today, but I had to put this one in the mix off of those 2 Park starts. But again, I do so with some caution. Third spot, number 8, El Gran Patron. Comes in from Finger Lakes. I think this horse should fit well with this bunch. Been racing Allowance Company up at Finger Lakes most of this year. Moves down here for a claiming tag and has run well over the inner track before. So again, maybe getting a little bit of class relief from Allowance, Finger Lakes to claimers at Aqueduct. I don't think it's a huge amount of class relief, but certainly, again, having run well over the track before, we'll throw that one in. In the 7th, 4, 6, 8, and 5.
8th race on the card, State Breds, 4-year-olds and up. Entry-level allowance, non-winners of 1 other than. Going a mile and a 16th.
5, 9, 3, and 10. The number 5 is Sea to Sky. Just has an affinity for the inner track in 4 career starts here, a win and 3 second-place finishes. So hasn't missed an exacta in 4 tries on the inner track, and that includes last time out. A little bit of a 2-month layoff, 2+ month layoff. Last time came back and just missed as the 2-1 favorite, field at 10. I think this horse, again, should be primed to run well over a track that he has shown a liking for in the past. Sinistra, the 9 horse in the 2nd spot. I just wasn't quite sure. This horse, I think, is going to take plenty of action. 4-1 on the morning line, but I think off of that last start, the betting public is going to tilt towards this horse a little more than that 4-1 indicates. That 81 buyer figure and a near miss effort, again, will attract some attention. I just wasn't sure whether that was believable or not, because it's a lifetime best buyer figure, and it's in the 15 to 20 point range better than what we normally see this horse fire. So it just has the look of too much of an aberration for me to use this horse on top. But I had to have it in the mix because it just may signal a little bit of a light bulb moment that this horse has just gotten into some good form right now. And then in the 3rd spot, the number 3, Saturday Appeal. I just think this horse might be the speed, so a little bit of a pace angle in here. May try to take him all the way. Saturday Appeal in the 3rd spot for me. 8th race, 5, 9, 3, and 10.
And in this afternoon's finale, Open Company, 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, maiden claimers in for $12,500, racing 6.
3, 9, 6, and 1, and the number 3 is My Perfect Valentine. It's a weak field, and certainly you can't get super excited about a horse that's had 10 tries, but it's just one of those where eventually they get to the spot where they win, and it looks like that's the case. I think this horse just has a little bit of an edge, perhaps, on the rest of this bunch. Again, it's a 10-time loser. You don't jump in with a lot of confidence, but it looks like perhaps a little more class relief today. My Perfect Valentine could have finally found a field that she will be able to beat. 2nd spot, the number 9, Little Tiffy. Last couple of starts certainly show a little bit of life, including a nice second place finish with the move to the inner track last time. And then the number 6, High Inflation. Similar scenario to a Little Tiffy. This horse moved to the inner track last time, ran a good second. So a couple of horses there underneath that maybe have shown a little bit of an affinity for this racetrack. In the 9th, 3, 9, 6, and 1.
And that wraps up our Monday look at the Big A. Also, alongside Naira on this Monday, our full slate of action on TV 12 to take you through this mild Monday afternoon. Bueller, it's coming. All right.
I'm going Aqueduct first.
At 12:25, they're going to make it? They're going to usurp everybody?
I think Aqueduct up first.
All right.
And then,
well, before they're getting this, who do we have on Racing Across America coming up in a moment?
Racing Across America at 10 o'clock. It's going to be our regular weekly visit from Mike Penna, do a little stakes recap. And then I'm happy to be visited by Ron Palucci, who is one of the owners of Ria Antonia, a finalist for the 2-year-old filly Eclipse for 2013. And they're looking to face the boys on the Triple Crown Trail this year. So we'll talk a little bit about that with Ron Palucci.
They looked like a fun bunch at the
Absolutely.
Breeders' Cup, and I know it'll be a busy interview, but that was a filly that when she came to New York off the synthetic at Woodbine, I was expecting a good run, and she was sort of listless and dull, and I'm a very forgiving sort, especially when they're 30-1, and I liked her in the mix, unfortunately, with a horse that fell down in the 6. So we'll get that schedule up for you, ladies and gentlemen. But just as important, well, once you're watching the races, you want to wager on the races. CapitalOTBBet.com, state-of-the-art wagering platform, started in November, easy as can be. But if you have any situations with us, please write us, viewer mail at CapitalOTB.com, but that seems to not have been a problem. Or you can phone us at customer service, 1-800-292-BETS, 1-800-292-2387. Also, if you missed any assessed selections from Aqueduct or mine from Turf Paradise, go to CapitalOTB.com, click on the Handicappers Report, the Today version, and you'll get all of our selections. And Seth was right, the Big A in Parks going off at 12:25. Beulah, Turf Paradise, Dover, Northfield, Pompano, Yonkers, Woodbine, Australia A, and Australia B to take you throughout your Monday afternoon. That wraps up the Handicappers Report. Please stay tuned. Up next, Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.